Alrighty. GM everyone. Welcome to Soul Brothers. And today is a special edition because I am joined by Jakey, or known as SolJakey in the Legion circles. Welcome to Soul Brothers, Jakey.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We are on your home turf.
You are. Yeah.
I would say, right?
Toronto, Canada.
Toronto. I've been to Canada last time like 7 years ago. I actually used to live in Vancouver.
Okay.
You been there?
I love Vancouver. I've spent a lot of time on Vancouver Island, not the actual city, but
nice.
I love the West Coast.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
It is.
So I feel when I come here, I feel a bit of, it reminds me, the fucking Tim Hortons, and you see you see the brands that I'm known from Vancouver, but Toronto has its own little thing.
Yeah, it's a good time to be in Toronto right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jays season just started. The Maple Leafs are in the playoffs, so it's like rowdy down here.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It is actually. The city is also full as fuck.
Yeah.
Sun is shining, sun is out.
Yeah, weather's been great, which is good. Sometimes, like in May, on the East Coast of Canada here, you get like the last little bit of winter will hit, and you'll like somehow still get negative like days in terms of like the degrees.
Yeah.
But no, it's been nice the full 2 weeks.
But you're not from the city. You live a bit outside, but you grew up here. You grew up in Toronto area.
I grew up in like the suburbs. So it's
right
in my hometown's called Whitby. It's like 30 minutes away from Toronto, like a 30-minute drive. I grew up there, and then we had a cottage up north when I was like younger, up in Muskoka.
Yeah.
And we sold that, so I ended up buying my own piece of property up in Muskoka. So I've got that, and then when I am home, because I've been traveling so much, I stay at my parents, and they moved up into like Kawartha Lakes, which is like 2 hours away from here up north.
Yeah.
In this like place called Lindsay. It's nice.
It sounds beautiful. It also sounds kind of empty as fuck. Like these guys.
As I've gotten older, I don't know what it is. If I spent too much time in LA or whatever.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, I can't. The city life, it being fast paced, people everywhere, lines, traffic. It's like I'm a very impatient person. And so being in New York or something like that is like, can I swear on here?
Of course, bro.
Okay, it's hell. I hate it there. So
that was swearing?
I don't know. You never know. I want to make sure that if it's PG, I want to be PG.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
But we're at the end of the day, we're in crypto here. We don't really give a shit. We talk about everything. So as a brand, we're trying to cover the latest and greatest on Solana. So usually we do once per week live streams, and we talk about what's happening on Solana.
Latest and greatest? Which one am
I? Both.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a special fee because we do an interview, we do a little bit of between the lines and stuff. Today I want to talk a little bit about yourself, Jakey, about your background, who you are, how you ended up here basically, and what that journey looked like. And I also want to talk a little bit about some recent events in crypto when it comes to Jakey, which is obviously super based. There was an NFT sale. There's Soap, I guess.
Soap, is
the magazine. So I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about tokens because that's what you do. At least that's what your personal brand is doing a lot. Degen trading, covering tokens, streaming live from Pump.fun.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the way I see you, Jakey, and we don't know each other, right? Like we've seen each other in the world.
Met each other briefly, yeah.
Exactly. But it's the first time that we actually sit down and talk.
Yeah.
And the way I always perceived you is a media brand, right? Like you actually, 100%. I can see that. Like maybe not everyone sees that, but I can see that you guys put a lot of effort actually in content production.
Yeah.
Like Superbase itself and the magazine and everything is actually really good quality, almost artistic kind of content, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's the way I perceive you, but I think there's a lot of people as well that perceive you as kind of, I don't know, like some token chiller that pumps and dumps.
A moron.
Yeah, keep going.
I get it all.
Yeah.
I'm a drug addict.
You've been through it.
Yeah.
But
insider trader. Yeah.
That's a good one as well. So we want to talk about some insider trading as well today. That's for sure. But before we do, actually, I wanted to do one more Canadian related thing. What would you say is like some Canadian cliches and values and stuff that's like very Canadian? And are you in that bucket? Like, do you see yourself as representing some of these Canadian cliches? And can I put you in that bucket, or do you think you kind of grew out of it?
No, I think over the past couple of years, I've probably been a little bit more Americanized, but like I'm Canadian at heart. Like I love being Canadian.
It's good.
Yeah, cliches. I mean, bacon. You come here and you're eating fucking bacon. Maple syrup on everything.
Yeah. Literally.
I remember like there was that thing that went around forever where like especially South America, they thought we lived in igloos and like we were like polar bears were just walking around and stuff. And that is true if you go like very far up north into like Nunavut and like those territories.
But not you.
But not me.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I mean, we're like right on the border. We could literally take like an hour drive and we could be in Buffalo. So but I love being Canadian.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And my favorite sport's hockey. I watch the Leafs like religiously. So
here we go. They just played, no? Yesterday.
Let's not talk about it though.
Okay.
it was brutal, dude. Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to talk about the game.
Yeah.
But that's what brought me to Canada like fucking 8 years ago or some shit.
Yeah.
I was like in my early 20s. I had no idea what the fuck Canada is about. But when I was in Canada, I thought like huge forests, you know, like snow on trees, vast lands, you know, and fucking maple syrup.
Yeah.
And people with beards. And I was like,
so it kind of fits.
Yeah. I was like, I want to be there. I want to see that in person. And I flew to Vancouver. I took a fucking rental and I drove all the way up to Jasper Bend.
Oh my God! So you hit the nice spots, Jasper. Is that what you said, Jasper? Like up in Alberta? Oh my God, I've been there. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like if you go to Canada, like here's the thing: you can come to Canada and like be where we are right now, and it's like, oh, this is pretty like Americanized, not much different. Like they get maybe a bit more snow. But you go to Alberta and you start going into the mountains and you go up in there. It's like I've only been there once. I did it in 2021. I did like a cross country trip. I lived out of my van for a little bit.
Nice.
And I'm in those areas. I'm like, dude, you don't even realize this is your country. Like I was you know, I hardly went outside of Ontario in terms of our country. Like I hadn't really seen above that. And when you go to those places, you're like, no wonder people say like Canada's so beautiful, because like you go to those areas and it's just like, dude, there's like you go to like the best like mountain places in, you know, the States. Like you talk about Colorado or whatever, and like Canada beats it.
Yeah, it does actually. I mean, I basically found what I was imagining.
Yeah,
that's what I found when I went there. I was like,
that's great. Don't you love when that happens? Yeah.
So and then I spent like 9 months in Vancouver. After that, I was like, I'm gonna stay here. But cool. Okay, so Jakey, you are now in your mid-20s to late 20s.
Correct.
Okay, that was a guess.
Right there, yeah.
And
26.
Okay, you're 26 years old.
Yeah.
Currently, things that are keeping you basically not up at night maybe, but keeping you busy is your personal brand, like just keeping, you know, your Twitter game, tweeting, being on Twitter, being on the timeline. That's one thing for sure. I don't know if trading is something you would actually say it keeps you busy. I think it's just for the vibes and for the, you know, like you're not a trader, are you?
I'm not a trader. Like here's a really like, and I won't go off topic too much here.
Yeah.
But the thing about who I am in my job in this ecosystem and what I do in this niche of like the internet is like I have to be at the forefront of stuff that is obviously trending and very like popular.
Exactly.
Otherwise, I fall behind.
100%.
Like founders can build out their apps and you know and devs and you know they have like the actual physical product, tangible product. But for me, I rely on
recency.
Relevancy.
Yeah,
like in clout, like I rely on the idea of Jakey being popping and Jakey doing cool shit. And so in order to do that, right now, people, the most views, the most like, you know, the highest, what do you call it? Virality or whatever attention is based around meme coin. So I have to throw myself in the mix, and I'll admit it here, like I'm not a good fucking trader, but I try my best and I try to make content around it. Yeah.
And would you say, like, what happens if meme coins go away with Jakey?
I mean, you go to the next. I mean,
whatever's relevant, because there's always something that people are fucking.
Crypto is like this like evolution. There's always going to be like a new thing. There's always going to be like a new cool thing to like make content around and stuff. And like I've said it multiple times. Like NFTs were always more fun to me than meme coins. They were cooler to me.
Yeah.
Like the community aspect to it. It's like what got me into crypto.
Nice.
So yeah, like moving from, you know, realizing NFTs are kind of at this like place where no one really gives a shit. And like, I still love my NFTs. I still hold all of them.
Yeah.
But like we've moved to like, it's tokenize everything, meme coins. And so it's like, okay, how do I throw myself into the fire and like make sure that I'm a part of this cool thing and have fun doing it and be hands-on with it.
Yeah, I like that. You're still, I mean, I also obviously have you in the Lucid Drakes group. You're a fellow Drake as well. When did you buy your Lucid Drake? Do you remember that?
Me and Metasal have been friends for a very long time. He's been very helpful.
Nice.
I think I bought it. He basically like peer pressured me. He's like, you have to be in here, like buy it off me, like whatever. Great. And I was like, I don't know. I want to say it was like a year ago now.
Did you see what's coming? Like, because right now it's going pretty damn well good for Drakes. You know, there's really good people in there, like a good crowd actually.
Dude, it's great.
The latest sale was fucking $50,000.
Yeah, 300 sold or some crazy.
Yeah, what you see?
It's absolutely crazy. I think I bought mine for like $5,000. So
yeah,
you know,
a good deal.
I'm not selling mine, but it's like, okay, cool. I'm already up like $35,000. But
yeah, what other NFTs do you hold? Like, do you
I didn't sell anything. Dude.
Okay.
Like to be honest, like
all of it.
When you really go through D guys, OK Bears,
wow.
Utes,
okay,
Planos, everything.
Yeah. Okay, but then obviously meme coins came around. You're like, okay, I'm gonna cover what's relevant because that's
cover what's relevant.
The business you're in.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, like Plano, like they're crushing it in everything that they do. There's still teams like even what's Azuki, Pudgy Penguins over on Ethereum, like they're still doing their thing. It's less on the attention radar.
Yeah. Okay, so let's roll it back a little bit because now obviously we're here. Jakey's like an established persona in crypto, at least on Solana. You know, people know what the fuck you're doing. Like 100%. I mean, like just here, like people walking in this room literally before we start, like, hey, Jakey, you good? So that happens to you all the time, I'm pretty sure. So that's great. But let's roll it back because in your early 20s, you haven't been on Solana yet because there was no Solana.
Correct.
What the heck did you do in your early 20s? Just give us a glimpse of what was there before crypto.
Yeah, I've been creating content on the internet for like well over a decade now. I don't have to bring you through the whole kind of like story of what that looks like, but it all really began with skateboarding.
Right.
Like picking up that like film camera,
going
out, coming downtown, and just filming skateboarding, and that slowly evolved into more of a Jackass, like the Dudesons, like Bam Margera style videos that we were filming.
Yeah,
it was like a mix between us doing crazy, stunts and getting kicked out of the Walmart, and like beat up by security guards and police, like whatever.
You did all that.
We did all that, and then it had like another 60% of that video was also skateboarding. So like you kind of combined it together. And
nice.
As I got older, more injuries happened. I started to realize, okay, I'm not going to be a professional skateboarder. Like I'm not in that like caliber of like the bracket that I should be for my age. I'm going to be crazy on the internet. I seen Steve-O do it. Steve-O was an inspiration. I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start doing stunts. I'm going to document them. And there's this new like age of social media where Instagram is very relevant now. YouTube, you can make money on YouTube. So I'm not going to go to college. I'm going to do that.
That's literally what you thought.
That was it. Like my parents were asking me like in my senior year, they're like, so what colleges are you looking at? I'm like, am I going? She's like, well, my mom's like, if you're not going to go to college, you're going to have to get a full-time job. And I was like, cool, bet more money for me to go like spend and invest on these stunts and this crazy plan I wanted to do.
Shit.
And so it was tough for my parents at the beginning. So I was getting into trouble. I was getting injured, a lot of this stuff. But anyways, fast forward, I'm doing that for a long time. It's very hard to monetize just because of the nature of my content. Like we went through a period there where everything was very censored on social media. So like, content would get deleted, channels would get deleted.
Damn.
And then fast forward to 2021. Had some cool breaks, had some, great collabs and stuff. But I would say 2021 was kind of a transitional year for me. I went sober, so I stopped drinking, I stopped partying. And I wanted a break from doing like, social media in general, like doing this video content online. It kind of became this like toxic back and forth with me. And so I was like, I'm going to take a break from everything. And I'm going to like look at new hobbies. I started picking up the skateboard again a little bit. And then I started hearing about crypto and NFTs online. I remember specifically, shout out to FaZe Banks, but he was on a podcast and he talked about NFTs, and the way he described it seemed very like attractive. It reminded me of the old like Call of Duty days where you'd like be in a clan, like a Call of Duty team, and you rep the PFP, and I was like, there was a community. And so I started fucking around with NFTs on Ethereum. I remember like sitting there, I had no idea what I was doing. I was losing a bunch of money on gas fees. I was like, I had no idea. And then someone in a Discord was like, yo, there's this big mint happening on Solana. I'm like, I don't even know what that is, dude. Like, I just figured out what the fuck Ethereum
was. What is Solana?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. And he's like, take this. It's Ethereum, but like no gas fees and instant transactions. And I'm like, cool. That's exactly what I wanted, because those were the two reasons why I was on the verge of not trading NFTs anymore. Why? Like, I didn't care about them anymore. Because of the gas, like
it got too expensive.
The friction on ETH. And
right.
I did that first mint on Solana.
Which one?
It was an NFT project called Piggy Soul Gang.
Okay.
And right away, the NFT was in my wallet. And granted, the UI on Phantom was like, that alone could have switched me from
MetaMask ETH
to Solana.
Yeah.
And right there and then I was like, cool.
Damn.
This is exactly, I like the idea of NFTs and I love them even better on Solana. So I'm not going anywhere. I want to stay on Solana. And that transpires. It's like, you start to realize, I have this content background. No one's creating content here. Inevitably, if I believe that there's going to be products and cool apps and brands built in this niche part of the internet, I want to be like the Jake from State Farm guy, or like the mascot or whatever it is. Jake from State Farm was a terrible.
I don't even know him.
Okay. Like Terry Crews from Old Spice. Like, I want to be that guy that can, I have this like content knowledge and background and production to do it with my videographer, Colton.
Yeah.
So let's look at this as an opportunity, start to build that out on what it looks like. And now we're here today and we've got a cool resume off that, and we've got a bunch of content we made. Sorry, that was really long.
You make it sound so easy, bro. Like you make it.
It is not easy at all.
Right.
I skipped a lot of parts that were really.
Okay, then tell me before, I have like a ton of follow-ups, but at what point, like give me one moment in that whole journey from basically picking up your first ETH transaction, right? From stopping the video creation, going sober, and being in that little finding phase, whatever that was, right? From that moment to today, can you recall any moment where you were like, damn, I don't know if I'm going to do this anymore? Like, I don't know if I'm, like, was there a moment of considering giving up on whatever you're doing right now?
There's two.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's
double click on them.
The first one is, I didn't think about giving up, but I was like, it was post FTX, and I watched my portfolio like basically go to zero. And at the time, I was like really moving towards the direction where Colton, who's my now like full-time videographer, he wasn't full-time with me, but I was trying to move him towards that. I was trying my best to like come up with the money to make sure he's being paid adequately to what he deserves.
Yeah.
And then FTX happened, and I had already kind of like, he had lost clients because he was so busy with me because he was doing music videos and stuff. So it was in this weird point where I'm paying him and all this, and I'm really trying, and I'm slowly basically going broke without telling him. Like I'm on the verge of like my last like very little amounts of money, and I'm giving it to him to pay him for what we're doing. And I could tell he was kind of where he's like, yo, are you sure? Like, where? And I'm like, I think if we just like stay at it and we keep doing what we're doing, we keep evolving it, inevitably the market's gonna bounce. Solana's gonna be at the forefront of everything, and we're gonna be right there with it. And so there was a time there where I was like, damn, this is a gamble. I might go broke, but
but you had the conviction to at least believe in it a bit longer.
100%.
And pull through, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was one moment.
What's the second one?
I forget. Damn it.
It can't be that hard if you forgot it. It must have been either it was detrimental.
Oh, got it.
Okay. So
which I still struggle with it to this day.
Okay.
Where I try to find, like, we'll sit here and we'll talk, and you're like, you do like content, but sometimes it's trouble. Like I have trouble finding like what exactly my purpose is, because like there's always like a bigger picture, and like for me, regardless of what people want to think, if this gets clipped or whatever, and the people online, like I actually don't care about money that much. Like of course I want to make money, and
we all need it, right?
Yeah, and I want to retire my mom. Yeah. But my big thing is like I really care about legacy, and I really care about making something that goes bigger than myself.
Interesting.
As corny as that sounds, and so sometimes I find doing this stuff in crypto, I don't know if I'm like moving towards that. And then other days I'll be like, yes, like with everything I'm doing with Superbase and all this, I am. But there's some days where I'm like, I don't know, because it's like, it's so focused on the monetary side within crypto. And like, that's where you get the most views. If you're able to make people money, you're able to do these like meme coin, whatever it is. And sometimes like, well, I'm putting all this effort into content, but in reality, the winning game is like making a bunch of money, leaving, and then I don't know. Sometimes, but
I get that.
I'm doing things right now. I think with Superbase, the base house, and all these things that help me kind of feel like I'm on the trajectory of like fulfilling that purpose. But
I mean,
then you question that sometimes.
100%. I mean, it goes something like it touches a lot of points. There's there's some angle of imposter syndrome even on there that I sometimes, we all have it if we create content. Like, I don't have the amount of followers you have and the amount of people that look at me, right?
Yeah.
But with the podcast and with my personal brand, everything, I get it as well. And sometimes, okay, who am I? Like in this ecosystem, am I really, that person that I'm shown there on the internet? Like, is that the kind
100%.
of imposter thing that comes sometimes too? But then also you need the compass, right? You need a compass that's kind of, that has a direction, and there needs to be some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, some vision,
Yeah.
you know, some larger, some big picture. I don't know. And but that's so important. I don't know if you take the time for yourself with maybe some buddies that whose opinion count for you, and sit down and think about these things, because we get caught up in the day-to-day business
100%.
a lot, right? You have tons of DMs and requests and people want something from you. I guess like there's stuff happening. Then you have your business running, you have your Twitter, you have like there's all that shit.
Yeah, you get caught up pretty fast.
Do you take that time yourself really to kind of think about the big picture sometimes and look forward and ask yourself, okay, who am I in this ecosystem right now, and what am I building really, and what is this going to look like in 3 years from now?
Yeah, I try to. I think like going home, because when you're traveling so much and you're doing all these things, there's not, you don't, it's not that you don't have time, you don't even think, right?
Exactly, you don't have the capacity.
Exactly. So these times when I come home, and I'm going to be honest, like, I mean, like even doing this podcast, shout out to Simon. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get me to go places.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because it's not like I don't want to be there, but like when I come home, I'm like, I like to recluse and just think about things. So like, it feels good though to come home and like, exactly like this is the mind space that I'm in right now, and that's the only reason why I'm like, because those are things I've thought about over like the past like few days, because I'm just by myself thinking about it. But it's like healthy. It's like healthy thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, and I think what helps a lot is I think a mix of meaningful conversations with people and being inspired and going out.
Yeah.
Because if you always stay in your own head and you put yourself in a corner in your room,
100%.
you also can either you get stuck or you don't question things, or it gets brutal.
Yeah.
But if you mix, like if you go, what works really well for me is going out, talking to people, kind of gathering all the information from the ecosystem, what's happening, what do other people think of me, of the ecosystem going forward. But then you need this time of settling down, like let the dust settle, be by yourself and kind of think.
Yeah.
Maybe make some fucking notes, like write something down, like write a blog, write a tweet, about these things.
I mean, that's why I love doing these things. Because like I know like we're on camera and stuff, but like it is a conversation where you get to just talk about those things, like, and it's like invited. So it's like cool. Okay,
then let's talk about the next 3 years. Like where do you, I mean, now you asked yourself the question, you're not done yet, you're still in the process, I get that. But where do you think, how could that legacy look like if you follow the path you're on right now, with a few left and right turns, or like that always happens as entrepreneurs, right? You have to pivot here and there, but how do you imagine right now that legacy could look like? On what path are you on right now? Towards what are you walking in the next couple of years? Not 10 years, that's too long, but let's say 2, 3.
I think there's like a couple like kind of areas for me. I think one of them is that, all the effort and like the continuous effort and like cool shit that I want to do with Superbase will pay off, and Superbase will be a brand that's kind of looked at, not listen, I'm not comparing it to Barstool, but it's like looked at on a directory level, like in a similar fashion. Like you could compare it to early stages of Barstool, in 3 years, and Superbase is now a name that's like bigger than me. Like maybe you don't even know who I am, but you know what Superbase is. So I think that's like something that I'm excited about, and I think like I'm going to work really hard towards. I also think just like where crypto is, it's like still so infancy. So if like you continue to show up and you continue to, in my manner, it's like up production and do cool shit and continuously outdo the last thing you do, you'll still be at the forefront of like this like niche kind of like small internet bubble that's going to continue to grow. And if you could be the biggest of one 100%. Specific niche, like you're a legend in that.
Exactly.
So that's also one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then Solana, like I think Solana, aside from crypto, one, it's a cool fucking brand, and two, I think everybody will know what Solana is. Everybody will use Solana. They'll know like the biggest brands. They'll know the lore of Solana. And so with those three, that's kind of like, it's not a blueprint of like, okay, this is what I'm going to do for the next 3 years.
No, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for direction.
Yeah. So those are three directions that I like really care about.
I like that. Because the reason why I like it is I don't want the goal to be too precise, because I think that's fucking ridiculous. Like people usually say, oh, you need a goal, a very precise goal, otherwise you're lost and you don't know what you're working towards to, right?
Yeah.
But then I think if you do that, you're putting on the blinds. How's it called? Like the
blinders.
The blinders, like the tunnel vision, and you're not open for left and right, and you might get stuck very quickly in that tunnel on the process because you're so fixated on that one goal.
100%.
So for me, I usually always use some sort of picture when people ask me, okay, what's the bigger picture? What's the goal you're working to? I have like a blurry pic, in front of me. It's like, it's not, the art is not materialized yet. it's a bit blurry.
That's a good way to put it.
You know, so there, I can't see what's happening. You know, I know who I'm going to be in the future, and it's going to be meaningful what I do, and I have a company, and you have employees, and you know, we're doing cool shit. But I can't tell you the specifics. Like, the closer I get to in the moment of time to that goal, the more it materializes. And the less blur it gets. But it changes.
I like it. Exactly. I like that you said that too, because like I've had so many conversations too with like old like friends that, you know, but I haven't talked to them in so many years, because like have conversations and it's like I don't relate with them heavily. And they'd always be like, you know, you're doing all these things and whatever, but like, what's your end goal? What's like, what's the thing where you're like, okay, you're gonna settle down and you're gonna have kids, and it's like, bro, I don't fucking know.
That's not how life works.
Yeah, that's not how life works. Like,
I mean, at least not for us.
Exactly. I have all these cool things that I really like and that I'm working on, and like I have a bigger picture of like, I want a cool legacy. I want to be like remembered. I want the Hill House name to be like, that's great, cemented. But I have no idea. Like, I have simple like small steps. Like, I want to go to acting class. I don't know if I'm going to be an actor, but like maybe that's like a small step to getting to where like that next thing is. So I like that you said that, because I feel like so many people do that. Where they get like fixated on like, you know, they go to college and their end goal is becoming a lawyer. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, what like
if you're missing out on potential opportunities?
Yeah, what happens outside? Yeah, exactly. So,
and that's, so I think there's people that sometimes they live too much in the past and they get clingy and they can't let go of it. Then there's people that are too much in the fucking future and they're also clingy and they forget about the fucking here and now, right? Like, you can influence a lot of things in life, but you can also not influence a lot of things. And
it's easier to do that, right?
So I think, you know, like, you should just, sometimes it's better to go with the flow. Or the only thing you need is direction. As long as you have that. So in terms of direction, okay, that's clear. What is Superbase today?
It's a degenerate media company. Our flagship product, Soap, which is a digital publication, so it's like a sub brand underneath. It's officially out.
It is recently, right?
Yeah, very recently, by the famous photographer Sam Damashek, who has shot Sydney Sweeney, Halsey, everybody that you can think of.
Awesome.
And he's like the creative director. He's like the head honcho of it. And it's a really cool fucking thing. It's a really cool product. I think Superbase, again, I make the comparison to Barstool, but I also want the content to be like, not forever, but like, I want the content to be seen as a product, right? Like in these early stages. And I think, you know, being biased, I think like our vlogs and stuff are some of the best, you know, and that's just me being confident in what we do. So yeah, I mean, Superbase, we call it a degenerate media company. It's a brand that I care a lot about, and I want to be very successful and to outlive me. And
cool.
So
I like that.
I guess there's an NFT to it as well.
Right.
That's a cool aspect to it, but I don't know. I'm gonna describe from now on like what is Superbase, the brand that I really fucking care about, and I just want it to be really successful.
I like that. And it is content production in various forms. Content could be video clips, so you do a lot of, you know, video production. Yeah, that's the key. And then you can smoke. And then
really? I was gonna say like fuck, I don't know, but whatever. Yeah.
Do it. And then there's I always smoke shisha whenever, so the same shit. And then there's there's this content production, but there's also the paper version of a magazine, and there's a digital format of the magazine.
Correct.
And then the content itself is targeted towards men. I think that's plainly speaking pretty correct. Yeah. And kind of the crypto audience kind of matches that target audience to an extent, because it's mainly men dominated, people that kind of want to make money, that represent kind of values that are considered manly. Yeah. These kind of things. Was that the strategy? Are you actively targeting the crypto audience here? Is that what you guys doing? No,
I don't think so. But you're right. You're 100% right. But I think originally it was. Yeah. But like, God, dude, like things just change, right? Like the magazine was never supposed to be called Soap. It was supposed to be called Superbase. Okay. And then Soap formed. And
why?
Because Sam Damashek, we really wanted him to take the reins, because at the end of the day, like, he's the photographer, he's the creative genius that he is, and we wanted him to we wanted it to feel like his, you know? And so to him, he's like, I don't like the name Superbase as a magazine. We're like, okay, go to the drawing board, see what you got. And he came up with Soap. Short. I didn't like it at first, but then I'm like seeing the logo, I'm writing it down, I'm looking at it, and I'm like thinking like, you know, you could do IRL soap products, like actual soap, and like make it sexy and cool. And then I was like, okay, I like soap. So then, you know, Soap came about, and originally we wanted like Web3, like crypto pieces in there, like and I think we'll get there at some point. But in reality, we wanted the first issue to be a Web 2 product. We want it to be, the girls in the magazine. That'll be really good distribution.
Yeah.
On their Instagram stories, they're all very popping on Instagram. They have an audience, right?
Basically the models that you're.
The models, yeah.
Okay.
And so
Cool.
that'll be distribution, and we, Sam wanted it to feel really like his, and so we had, like, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have any, and Steve had very little creative input on what the actual magazine was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think going forward, we might be able to have a little bit more. We still want it to be like Sam's,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely do want to inevitably have it be kind of a, aspects to a crypto product. But
Mm-hmm.
I even look at the landscape today, and I don't think anybody really gives a shit. Like, thank you for even knowing that we, like, I'm sure you did the research to before we did this, but like, I don't think a lot of people even know that we have that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's cool for right now.
I don't know if you talk enough
really
about it.
I didn't do enough of it, but
Yeah.
then again, it's like, if we were relying solely on the crypto people to pick this up, we were already dead on arrival. Like, there's not enough interest in that. And so, like, with that, I was like, maybe issue 2, when it's a little bit more, like, maybe we have what's it called, an article on Ansem, or someone like that's like kind of very iconic in the space and people care about.
Yeah.
Then I can do like the marketing push to like the crypto people, where it's like, oh, I want to read that about him, or I want to read that about her. So.
But is video content still part of that whole super based brand?
Video content. Well, like that's just what I like.
Yeah.
I was never good at anything other than being like a retard on a camera. I don't know if I could say that.
That's a great job.
Yeah.
That's it. What do you do for a living? Well, I'm a retard on a camera.
Dude, I'm an idiot. I'm a retard. I'm a moron on a camera. So that will always be my thing. When it comes to soap, it's a little different because like behind the scenes shoots are like, I mean, they're naked chicks, and like it's very like artistic. A lot of cigarettes being smoked and coffee. Yeah. Right?
I like it a lot. Yeah. Honestly, like me personally, but obviously it is edgy, right? And it's niche. There's people that hate it, 100% sure, right? And that's perfect, right? Because that's what you want to do if you create content, honestly. If you do like some vanilla shit in the middle, I don't know. I mean, you can do that, right?
That's the beauty of the internet. You can just do shit, man. Like, I love, people have think certain ways of OnlyFans, like, in itself, and it's like, well, I mean, the chicks on there are making bread.
Yeah.
And maybe you're a man of Jesus and you don't like that, and that's fine. That's the beauty of the internet. You can disagree with people, and you can agree. Okay,
on the topic of doing whatever you want on the internet, human billboard. I want to talk a little bit about that stuff that went on back then. I don't know everything about it, but there was a period of time, when wasn't it, last year, 2 years ago or something? Last year, where you started to be, hey, I'm going to tattoo shit on my body, and I'm going to get paid for it. Is that in an essence what happened?
Exactly.
It's exactly.
I was sitting there.
Yeah.
And I
tell us the moment of when you had the vision of.
Dude, I was in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
We were there for, I can't remember. It was a crypto event, but we were there. We went to the UFC fights, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there. I came up with the idea. I tweeted, just like I always do. I'm like, oh, okay, and I tweet it. And I tweeted something like, pay me 10,000 USDC and I will get your company or ticker tattooed on my body, and it will feature in all the content.
You just tweeted that for fun.
Yeah, just tweeted it for fun.
You kind of knew already that you would do it, but you didn't plan on it.
Yeah, no, I was 100. If someone came to me and was like, I'll pay you 10 grand right now, I was 100% willing, but I really just thought 10 grand was just crazy. Like, to get a tattoo, there's no way.
Yeah.
Dude, within like an hour, we're at dinner at like this steakhouse or whatever. It's me, Steve, Sonny, Mark, Colton. God, I hope I'm not missing anybody. I think that's it. We're all sitting there, and I'm like, yo, I just have 2 DMs. They basically almost came at the same time, so it felt a little weird.
Okay.
I had 2 DMs that said they're willing to pay me 10 grand for a tattoo right now.
Yeah.
And so I was like, deal. Here's my wallet. I sent them my wallet, 10 grand came in.
No way.
Like,
on the same evening?
What?
On the same evening? Or
yeah. 20 minutes later,
shit.
Another 10 grand. So I'm sitting at this dinner, I made 20 grand from this like joke tweet I put out. I'm like, okay, cool. Well,
that's how you can monetize.
Steve, call up the tattoo guy from LA and tell him when we get back on Monday, I'm coming in to get tattoos. And
did they give you any requests about the details? Like, could you decide where to put it? Or
yeah, I told them, because they once, like, they didn't ask. What's weird about the, like, in that time span is that they didn't ask that before they sent the money. They just
sent the money.
Yeah, they were just down.
That's
and then I told them, I was like,
beat.
I know, right? That's why I love crypto. That would be possible nowhere fucking else, dude, on the internet. And I told them, I'm like, okay, considering I didn't think we'd get this far.
So what do you do now?
Yeah, it's got to be like max 2 inches by 2 inches, or whatever, which I ended up going way over. I just whatever. and it's got to be on my torso or my arms.
Yeah.
Like no neck, no like I don't want it on my like legs and shit like that.
Mhm.
I would have done it anyways, but I didn't. You know what I mean? And then now I've got 10 tattoos from that.
10.
The goal was to make $100,000
Okay.
by December. This started in I want to say early October.
Okay.
By December, it was I made $90,000 from it, and so for Christmas I took that $90K and I gave it to my mom.
Wow.
So it was well like
she's like, son, how the fuck do you make money?
Yeah,
It was like, I just tattoo company.
I was waiting for her to ask that, but she had already known that I've been doing well with the crypto stuff, so she didn't even bother asking. But I was really hoping she did, so I'd be like this and show her all of them.
But you told her afterwards.
I told. And
what she
my
say?
dad ended up seeing like he ended up. I was shirtless outside.
Yeah.
I was helping him, and he asked me what this was. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't actually know. I just got paid $10,000 to get it. He's like, hey, what are you talking about? And so I went through it all, and he's like, no way. So they know now.
Okay.
But yeah, I ended up being able to basically pay off one of my parents' like vacation like stays or whatever, like homes that they just
That's great,
got,
man. That's so cool.
by getting tattoos on my body.
Yeah. Only in crypto, only on Solana.
Only on Solana. That's all possible.
What is it? The Major Frog, Injective, Quants, Emmy, Autismo World, Tim
I don't even know, like
Simon's Cat meme. Simon's Cat. Shout out to Simon's Cat.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. And they send you the designs basically.
4, 5.
Yeah.
They sent me the designs, and sometimes I'll be like, yo, that's way too much like color and detail.
Gotcha.
Tone it down a little bit.
Yeah. So you do have the say in like.
Yeah, because I just don't want to be there for fucking like 6 hours. Even though they pay me $10,000, I'm like, yo, like I can't get a huge piece of this. Like you know, like
I mean, also you have to have a say in what exactly, right? I mean, I don't know if you would.
It's on my body forever. Right?
Yeah. Are you gonna put like fucking balls and a dick on your body with like?
I mean, dude.
Okay.
Don't
answer this.
Yeah, I'm show you some of my tattoos. You'd be like, I can't believe you have that on you, bro.
Okay, I gotcha. D-God as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the latest one.
No, I think this one Ready.
Okay.
Was one of them, and then I have one up here for that.
That went after D-God even.
Yeah, after D-God. Yeah.
Okay, what do you think about Frank stepping down from D-God? He even sold all his D-Gods or something.
I think he got drained.
Damn, I saw it today. Like today's like very recent. Like we are on the 15th of May right now, and I saw news. Frank D-God sold all his D-Gods.
Yeah, I think he got drained. I don't like.
Damn.
But
that would be crazy.
What do I think about him stepping down? I mean, dude, he's a very. You know what? I think Frank's one of like the best to ever do it in terms of a marketing sense. Like no one can take that away from him.
True.
He gets people to pay attention,
yep.
and for that, everybody has to give respect.
Yeah.
You can dislike some of the moves he's made, some of the things that he's like kind of attached himself to or pushed. I consider Frank a mutual friend, a friend of some manner.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been really nice to me. He's a really cool kid. If you've ever met him in real life, nicest kid ever. And I think for what it was, like I think people think having an NFT project is now a full-time babysitting job. And although I think there were like missteps, and I don't know if now is the time for him to step down. I think he did what he was supposed to with it. Okay. And well, he did a really good job for the 3 years that he was like.
But he did. I mean, arguably there were some missteps, as I said,
100%,
and some decisions that are probably not the best for the project. So that's what people right now are judging him for, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're only as good as like your last trick, and obviously him like people putting him into this like weird, and I was the weird group of the whole insider trading thing. Him stepping down with that is like, yeah, they're gonna crucify him on the timeline for that. But like, I do think if you go and look at the NFT landscape, you look at all the highlights and like points, especially like for Solana NFTs, like Frank was there for most of them, like, and he was like a part of them. Like, like you can't take away the fact that he made people like give a shit about what he was doing, for good or for the bad, or for the good or for the bad. So again, I'll have a biased opinion because I'm friends.
Exactly. Yeah, which is cool. And you rock on the PFP even, I think. Are you?
I think on Telegram I am, but I haven't rocked it on Twitter in a while.
Yeah, on Telegram I see it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's like just a very recent event, and people are talking about it right now, and everyone's opinionated. And like a lot of the Solana people, and I get it, but a lot of the hardcore Solana people, the people that have been there from the very start, just like Frank was, they'll never let go of the Polygon situation where he had like bridged Utes to Polygon and bridged D-Gods to ETH. Like they'll never let go of that. So like any Solana OG that's like, especially like
I won't say the people here, but the people that have been around building on it, like that hurt them. And they gave a shit about that. So
that's why, like in my circles, because like I'm building and I'm with builders, like they're always a bit concerned about
100%.
About the man and his decisions and everything. But from a creative perspective, I also understand that he deserves respect for the shit he did, right?
100%.
And for the brand he built, the NFT.
In an attention market, he's one of the greatest to do it in our ecosystem.
At least he's good at what he does.
Yes.
Period. Like that's what he. That's what we can take away from it. Anyway, okay. Now I wanted to talk about one thing as well, which is just fucking tokens, right? Because that's our main business here, right? In crypto, I mean, we're building great products, we're building future technology as well, we're building internet capital markets. There's a lot of great narratives going on. But at the end of the day, people give a lot of shits about tokens. State of tokens today, state of meme coins. What's your mind state currently? Because now obviously we kind of, I mean, the year was not great so far. Trump kind of fucked us a little bit here and there with some of his moves. He launched his own fucking meme coin. Things are a bit weird. And now I think people are a bit concerned, I think, about these things and also about going forward. Solana recovered now again. Like I said, we're on the 15th of May right now, and Solana went up from its bottom, and it looks like we could go higher. How do you feel currently about tokens overall, about meme coins as well, and about the markets right now? What's your mind state these days? Or also a plausible answer would be, I don't give a shit. I'm just here for the vibes, and I'm doing what I can do. A little bit
of that, but also, I don't know. I want to make it very clear that I've never actually been that great of a trader. Although, like, some people may think that I'm like an evil genius, I'm a sniper, or I'm like a cabal, like inner working guy that has this crazy P&L. Like, truth is, I'm fucking not. I'm not actually a good trader. I really strive to be. I think like somewhere where I was like kind of good at was that holding a token and being able to create like content around that token. I've often referenced like the beginning of 2024. There was this token called Used Car. It was like gently used Honda Civic. Okay. And I don't know. It's 2001 gently used Honda Civic, and I loved it. I thought it was the memes that were coming from. I thought it was fucking hilarious. I bought a 2001 Honda Civic, and I started making content with it. I had a bag in it, and it was fun. And although I made the mistake of not selling and basically round tripped it all, but like I was good at the idea of like bag working and like working it into my content and making content that, okay, cool, it was for the token, but you'd watch it just because like maybe it was funny or like, we did a music video for it and all that. So I very much like that area where you could hold a token for more than a day or more than a week at that point and have fun with it and bull post it and like.
Is that still possible?
I don't know. No, not from what I've seen. Like, I'm not good at the hyper gambling. And we've seen the AI, like, God, dude, fuck the robot, like AI slop that I'm saying that because I was also really bad at trading them. I didn't fucking get it. I really tried my best. And now the capital markets thing, which I really like that narrative. I think it's cool, but I'm also really bad at trading the meta because it's very much like the AI one. It's fast paced. It's very quickly up and very quickly down, and I have not mastered the art of top blasting a token. Where you're really buying the very, I always feel like I'm buying the top, so I never buy above a certain market cap. So, but there's been a couple cool coins. Like House Coin was one of them, where it felt very much like the older times, where you could hold it for a little longer than a couple days. You could bull post it. It was funny. It had a good like narrative to it. The housing market. It was like crash and blah blah blah. Buy House Coin, don't buy a house. Like, it was cool. So. State of it right now, I think the trenches are slowly kind of making a comeback after basically being disintegrated after the whole Libra thing. Which is good. Like, we want the trenches to do well. We want, people making money, like ecosystems thrive when a bunch of people are making money. And, so it's good though.
How do because you're here on the creator side of things, right? You have an audience. Obviously, you have to be kind of. I mean, how do you approach tweeting? Like, do you think before you click post?
No.
I was afraid you're gonna say that. But is there things you need to be careful of now that you have this following and the people, like course. Especially when it comes to tokens, that's the direction I wanna go in as well. Because like if you call a CA, if you call a ticker, you need to know that people will do something.
Okay, let me retract that back, because like when I go to tweet something that may be on the edgy side, or the controversial side, I don't usually think. But when it comes to like the ethical manner of like tweeting CAs, pumping coins and stuff, like I really try to approach that like in a good manner. Like a lot of like I've never raw dogged just a CA on the timeline. Usually when I'm like picking like a coin, it's something that I'm also like, of course I'm incentivized because I have a bag in it, but I take in consideration that like if I'm talking, for example, like MLG, which was like a coin that I really liked for a while there, I was making a bunch of content on it. Like I'm very much aware that I can't just tweet something and have my influence affect that coin, or like stream about it and have my influence affect that coin while dumping on the people that are following me. Like that, I believe in karma, and I think that's bad karma. I know that you could possibly get away with it if you do the whole sidewall or whatever it looks like, but I just never done that. You know, I had a bag of MLG. I talked about it a bunch, and again, it's a poor example because I round tripped it basically. I didn't actually get my exit on it really. But yeah, there's always ethical practice to like, do I see myself holding this coin for more than a week? Okay, then maybe it's okay to like slightly post about it or like interact with the people that are like kind of bull posting it, right?
As you say, like you also have incentives sometimes because you're obviously holding it back. And you want to, it's kind of a fine line. It's a bit weird because you don't want to misuse that power and pump the bags, you know, and then kind of show some random tokens. You don't want to do that.
Let me say something really quickly too. I'm a fucking LARP. So I want to make it clear to everybody that like ends up watching this podcast, and you can clip this. I'm a fucking LARP because a lot of the time when there's like even house coin, although I bought some, dude, I bought like 3 SOL worth. And I'm sitting here tweeting like I've got fucking 1% or 2% of that fucking supply. Dude, it was just popping. People were talking about it. Everybody was bull posting it. I wanted to be a part of the conversation. I get FOMO. I didn't want to feel like I was left out and I didn't know what was going on. So
you start talking about it.
I started talking about it. Like I'm a fucking LARP, dude. A lot of the time if I'm talking about like, what's that other one? Gork. It was like this coin that was like a play on Grok. I tweeted about it like 6 times. Not necessarily that I was holding it, but I tweeted about it 6 times. I never even held the coin. I just thought the
relevance.
Yeah, the relevance and like the people that were kind of making fun of it, the people that were talking about it, and then Elon changing his PFP and everything. Like it was just relevant. So I will admit, like I definitely LARP at times where it's like a lot of the time my incentive is I get clicks out of being part of the conversation. Like I have no problem admitting that I am a cloud chaser. Like 100%.
But that's very crucial information for people to kind of understand a little bit also what's happening in your head when you post.
Oh yeah.
Because
100%.
like I think people should know sometimes, you know, that like then last question to that topic, like what happens if people, if founders approach you that have a token live? Like how do these conversations usually go? Like do you do deals with them? Like how do you, you know, like what do you think, even you can answer that question? Like what does it look like when they approach you? What should it look like?
I mean, contrary to the belief of people, I don't really believe in the idea of like a token deal. A lot of time, if like for example with founders, like a lot of time I need to see myself on a 6-month basis. Do I really believe in this app? Do I really believe in whatever product they're trying to push? Like forget the token for a second. Is their product fucking cool? And will I use it? Can I embed it into my content? Cool. If that's like a done deal, cool. Then let's work out something on a 6-month basis that incentivize both of us. When they think of your product, they think of me. When they think of me, they think of your product. Those are the most like mutually beneficial partnerships, and those are the ones I strive for. I'm not really in it for like, yo, you have a token, okay, well I'll talk about it for a week, I'll like tweet about it and you give me like 2%. That never fucking works because I end up dumping on the people that are like listening to me or whatever. It never made sense to me. Regardless of what people believe, I'm here for the long term. I give a fuck about Solana and I give a fuck about what I do. So doing those like schemy little token deals of whatever, it's not in my best interest because of everything that's done in the dark ends up coming to the light in some form or fashion. And and I'm not, listen, I don't shame anybody that does do those things. Get your bag, whatever that looks like. It just has never really worked out for me. So
I don't think it's sustainable also from a founder's point of view.
It is.
Like also shout out to all the founders that are trying to do proper deals with marketing people because there are some and there's ways to do it, right? But it's usually 100%. I think one of the crucial things you said right now is kind of the timeline as well, the duration of the collaboration. Because usually it's a better idea to believe in something and then collaborate for a bit longer, right?
100%.
And do content around it, then just do a one-off deal, get some tokens, chill it, pump it, get out, move on to the next one. A lot of people do that.
And you end up like as a creator, although it might not seem like it's affecting you right now, in the long term it does. And so like even you look at last year,
people see it, right?
Yeah, people see it. Even like last year, there was very few brands that were like, I worked with Jupiter for a little while there. We worked together for 6 months.
Cool.
did great work with them. I love their team. I'm working with Bonk Bob right now. I think they are the best team, like one of the best teams, at least in a trading like consumer perspective. They're one of the best teams on Solana. And I've been with them for like 4 months. So it's like,
cool.
People could say I've talked about a bunch of coins. I've talked about I've talked about products, but like in terms of actual partnership where, yes, I get paid by that company, it's very, very few.
Makes sense. Yeah, believe it. Cool. All right. Then to end on one thing that I wanted to just learn a little bit more about, which is also related to that topic. You said yourself, people think sometimes they perceive you as an insider, right? And like you're part of this cabal. And can you shed a little bit of light on that? What I mean, how does it happen? Like, do people approach you? You know, like, well, you know, do they want to? Because it happens. Like, do they tell you know? Okay, and do people try to do some sketchy deals with you? And then, you know, like, how do you react to that? And take us a little bit behind the scenes here. Dude, and make me understand.
Let me tell you something. One of the most, how do I word this? One of the most frustrating things about it was that there's been so many of those deals where it's like, and I'll just be straightforward and honest, where it's like a guaranteed six-figure bag, $250,000, whatever. But it's not in the best interest for me, regardless of the money. So like I turn it down. And then somehow I find myself, and again, when I was on stream, until the Libra thing, everybody clowned on me and knew me as a bad trader. So then going into the Libra situation, because I was close to the whole thing that happened, it was really funny how that switched now, where they gave me credit of like insider trading on the president of a fucking country. Like I was this evil genius that was able to snipe tokens, where it's like, bro, I don't even know how to fucking trade the tokens, let alone know how to set up a sniper. I don't even know how LPs work. So it's like the shift of that narrative was very interesting to me. But yeah, as someone that has like a following, has a level of influence, of course you're approached by a lot of these like weird deal structures that definitely question your morality sometimes, because like it's dollar signs where you're like, but it's about like looking long term. It's about like, well, what do I want for Superbase? Because the actions that I do and what I like end up in affect maybe even like Solana. Like I know a lot of people were like saying how poor of a state Solana was in because of choices that myself and other people allegedly made, you know? And so I think about those things. And, you know, when it comes down to the whole Libra situation, unfortunately, I was guilty by association just because I knew the guy and I knew, you know, to a degree what their operation was. But it's just like one of those things where it's like I got all the flack, but I didn't actually make any money from any of it. And it is what it is. I guess I've come to learn that it kind of comes with the territory in a way. And people need to point somewhere.
They need a scapegoat, right?
They need a scapegoat. And I was obviously an easy target because of how close I was to this situation, because I knew the people. And I had to chalk it up to that. The people that know me know who I am. They know the head I have on my shoulders. And that's all I really gave a shit about, was like, do the people around me and the people that I actually like care for their opinion, what do they think? And if they do think the opposite, then let me talk to them and make sure that we're on the same point, like we're on the same page, and they know where I'm at and where my head's at and what actually happened. And that's all I give a shit about.
And I think that also that brings the conversation back to where we started when you talked a bit more about the long-term vision of Superbase and that you want to leave a legacy behind. Because if you actually know these things, what 90% of the people out there don't know. They don't know that about you, right? If you know these things, if they know a little bit more about how you think and how you think about the media empire that you're trying to build here, if they think about the long-term view you have on things, if they think about the collaborations you're trying to uphold with people like Bongbot, Jupiter, other major brands that you would like to work with, if you put all that next to it, and then you're like, is that really like? Of course, it kind of makes no sense for this person to do some sketchy side deals that will bring one-time, you know, reward and then fuck his whole future, right? Like, because I don't know what's going to happen to the guys, like the guys that were actually involved in Libra, for example. No one's going to do a fucking deal with KC Ventures going forward.
No, it's cocked.
I don't know. You know, I mean,
and listen, like in terms of their thing, like that was another thing though. Like some people actually like in their perspective, I really think, because the only reason why I knew them was because we worked at an exchange called Q. They were like helping marketing. That's how I met them. And I don't have to go into the whole story, but from when I met them then and their setup and their structure of their business, it seemed like they like knew what the fuck they were doing, and they had this like they were building up their resume, and they came to like now it's like Yeah, you wave like some dollar signs, and especially like you know, I can't remember how old he, but like you know, the 25, 26-year-old's like face that doesn't have maybe the morals that the other next person does. Yeah, they're gonna make some bad decisions, and you know.
Yeah, if the money's high enough.
Yeah.
People get, you know,
tempted. If you don't actually give a shit about a legacy, or you don't care, like if you know those things don't really matter to you, it's how much money can I fucking make right now? Anybody in
we have to be honest, right? Like at the end of the day, it's like, you know, moral, or you know, do I give in at this moment? But yeah, is Jakey the real Ansem? One of our questions.
I'm white, bro. What are you talking about?
And I think the guy's even much taller as well.
Very. I'm faster than Ansem, though. I just want to put it out there.
You're faster than Ansem?
Yeah. I raced him in Indiana. We were out there for a trip, and I raced him and I beat him.
You raced him? How did you race him? Like physically?
Yeah, running.
Running? Yeah, why the hell would you do that?
I have no idea. Okay. I thought, you know, he's a tall black guy, not to, you know, whatever. I was like, there's no way I fucking beat this guy.
And you beat him?
I'm straight off the couch. I've got vape in the lungs.
Damn.
And I'm lying, and I didn't beat him. He crushed me.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he crushed me.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, if one takeaway from this podcast is Jakey crushed Ansem in running, but
we can cut that and say I did. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm faster than Ansem.
Josh, you know what to do. Our editor is gonna make that. But we're gonna make a machine out of you, because I think we're gonna have a V2 of this conversation at some point.
I would love to.
We had some ideas. So for everyone who listens to this podcast right now, we will have a new format for Soul Brothers, which is Gym Brothers. So we're going to record an interview or some sort of conversation in the gym. I'm going to be the personal trainer. I probably train together with you as well. And I'm going to make you suffer.
Good.
And between the suffering, we talk.
You know what? I'm glad we did this one first. So now that we can do a part 2 in the gym.
Yeah.
Because I think hopefully when we go to do that, I'll be on the mission of getting back in the gym. And we can like
getting back in the gym.
We can spin that narrative and be like, yo, we're gonna do a pod, but like we're also trying to fucking train Jakey. And,
and then you know what's gonna happen is, like, everyone who comes on Soul Brothers interview is gonna end up in the gym and fucking crushing it again.
See, that's good. If you can make it so that every guest that comes on here
goes on
a trajectory of health and like in the gym.
Yeah.
Dude, it doesn't get much better than that.
Maybe I can even I can build a small personal training business on the side, you know, like keep up with the.
Now we're fucking talking. You tokenize that with the token.
Damn. We need to tokenize everything, Jake. Anyway, so yeah, people can expect that coming up as well. But for today, we're gonna close it down now. Thanks everyone for listening to Soul Brothers, your finest podcast on Solana. You can find us on Twitter at Soul Brothers Pod, and you can also find us on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And we're gonna put some more amazing content out. We do latest and greatest every single week about what happened on Solana, and then we have some special guests sometimes, like Jakey today, and we talk a little bit about the backstories behind them and drill down a little bit in how their mind works, right? And in the future, we're going to do Gym Bros as well, recording people while they suffer under the squat rack. Also, thanks for everyone in the live stream. 2,000 people right now dialed in, listening to this beautiful conversation here in Toronto.
Much love, dude. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jakey, for being here. And last shout out as well to Super Team Canada, of course, for giving us this beautiful space here. And also shout out to Skyrise for doing these recording sessions with us.
Shout out Skyrise.
Exactly. So thanks for that as well. Legend, Gonzalo. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, we're closing down the stream. And thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast. See you at the next one. Peace out.
Bye.
Awesome. Bye, guys, in the live stream. Thanks for being here as well. See ya. You have a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.